Hello YouTube and welcome back to Empyrion Season 2 Episode 1. We've had to go ahead and restart due to the latest update to pre-alpha 3.3. So what they did recommend, because of the changes that they've made in this particular output, is you restart a brand new game. So fortunately for me, I'd only just got about episode 3, and I think I'd done 2 more videos, but I'm not going to bother uploading them now, so we'll just go ahead and start all the way from scratch again. So what changes have they done in Alpha 3.3? The initial starting off hasn't changed too much, but what they have introduced now is new point of interest. There's 25 of them, I believe, in total. So what that basically entails now is you don't see the towers anymore. I have had a bit of a play on my fun time one, but you don't see the towers anymore. So what you have got now is point of interest, and they're actually really good. I prefer it over the towers. It's a lot more gameplay style now, so it looks a lot better as well. So we've started on a new seed, so we're not in the same place as we were before. So as always, first thing we want to do is get our ship powered up and get some fuel cells going. That's my first priority. So I still want to do the inside a mountain base, just because I was enjoying it, and I think we will do it over here. So other new changes that they have put in 3.3 is they've now introduced alien race, which do fight you when you're close to them, and did try it on my personal game that I'm just playing around with for different ideas, and they're not easy to defeat. A lot harder than I expected anyway. What else have they introduced? Just trying to have a look now. So the point of interest, they've fixed some bugs. The other thing that they've done is increase the damage that drones do to your bases, to your vehicle and things like that. They do actually now pose a huge threat to your space vehicle or your base if they are left unattended, and it's not a I'll get to it in a minute. They do a lot more damage now, so they can destroy your escape pod very quickly, or any other vehicle that you've got. They hurt you a lot more now, so when they're actually shooting at you, they do hurt a lot more. There's our fuel cells going. Just trying to see what else was in the patch notes. Two new cockpits was something else that they've introduced. I have tried one of the cockpits. It looks a lot, I must admit, it does look good. It's not as jazzy as I thought it would be on the update, but definitely they do look really good. they've added an improved constructor as well, the advanced constructor, which basically, rather than you sit there and make all the different items from ingots into, you know, like a level 1 item, then a level 1 into a 2, and then make the item. Now, as long as the iron ingots, or ingots, whichever is required, is in the constructor, it will actually assemble all the mini components first and then build the item for you. So you're not having to work out what items required and things like that. It is nice. I have tried it, but I find it does slow me down a lot more than I thought it would do. They've done a huge changes on illumination blocks. The passengers now, when you've got a passenger on your vehicle, can now look into space. The biggest one out of all these that I have found on the enhancement of the game is now when you go to your O2 station and you stand next to it, it doesn't trigger until you press T, which is an almost absolute essential fix that they've done, because a lot of times, especially on small vehicles, when you've created a custom built one, you get anywhere near with the vehicle turned on near that oxygen station and it's gonna go off, just wasting oxygen for no reason. So that was another enhancement that they've done. They've updated the radar map icons for HV and base, and just a couple more. But the two, the major ones I've already covered, and I suppose the only other one which really never affected me was the Prometheum. But I didn't get too far into the game, so maybe later on that actually becomes a big issue. So what I am going to do, because obviously I don't want to go all the way back through everything that I've already covered in my first 3 episodes that I did from season 1, is I'm going to get the base started, but all the mining and crafting and the basics of getting the ship up and running, things like that, I will probably do off camera just to get a basic base running, and then from there we'll carry on and sort of like pick up from where we left off. I do have a test one that I have been running and doing different bits and just playing around, just to get an idea of the new point of interest and things like that. And it's a bit of fun, and I've got a couple of friends that come and join on there and have some fun if they so wish. So I will get the base started. So yeah, I'm actually enjoying the game quite a lot, and I must admit, out of all the games, and I think I've said this in a previous episode, out of all the games, this has been a really good experience, especially in a pre-alpha game. They are very quick at fixing things, and one thing I do like the way that the developers do develop on this game is they don't do huge updates. What they do, or what they tend to favour, is they prefer to do a lot of mini updates. So every 2 weeks or so they're coming out with a lot more features for the game and enhancements for the game, but it's not overwhelming, where if they do find bugs, they're not having to troll too far in order to fix them, so they can quickly fix them. So they're doing smaller updates but more often, and from that they're a lot quicker at responding, at getting the bugs fixed as well, which is really nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Especially for a game in pre-alpha, it is the experience is absolutely nice, flowing. There's no frustrations with it. Even the bugs that I've come across haven't been complete game breakers. So it has been a good experience from the developers on how they're developing the game. So we've got our base starter, we've got some hull blocks. Okay, so let's see, what do we need? 20 metal, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Yeah, 10. We've got no flattener, we've got that, right. So let's go and have a look. Where did I say? Over here. When we start going up further, if you've played Empyrion at all or done anything and not really done too much, the changes that they've made with the POIs and a couple of other things have definitely made it a lot more interesting now. Is my heart going again? No, I'm thinking, although this will make it a lot harder, I'm thinking maybe into there. Let's see if we can see if we can do this. And it's still very loud. Just 1 second. Nope. What? Audio. Just turn that down a little bit. Ah, there we go. So they have said in the patch notes what they're looking at coming out with in the next update is dedicated servers. And more functionality on the dedicated server. More, I would imagine there's going to be more on the storyline. They did mention that in the patch notes, that the couple of POIs that are on the planet are part of a mini quest that's going to be coming out. So, but the dedicated server will be a lot more useful for me, because I will get a server. Especially, I've managed to get quite a few of my friends from the group of people that I do gaming with. They now have got the game, so that's going to be good. And the other thing that they did mention was, along with the dedicated server, which would have to make sense, is the actual solar system, implementing the full-blown solar system. So I am really looking forward to seeing how that comes out, because at the moment multiplayer on this is very limited. Everybody has to be in the same space, so not, you know, if a couple of you wanted to just go into space and just do some mining up there, all of you who was on the server at the time or the game at the time would have to go up at the same time. So okay, so we've already got our base layout started. So let's see if we can. Let's give it a bit of an extension. Okay, so we got our platform down. So this is our primary focus. If you haven't seen, or you're completely new and you haven't seen season 1, episode 1, your base is your primary focus. When you first start, you've got to get that base up and running, because in order to get around on the planet, you've got to have a vehicle of some sort. You could run it, but it's not overly feasible. Corn dogs. Again, if you haven't seen episode 1, corn dogs are I'll grab you while I'm ready. Are a good source of food, especially when you're first starting off. You don't have any farms, you can't cook anything, so if you went hunting you won't be able to cook anything. So corn dogs and aqua fruit are a good source of, and they're just growing everywhere as you're walking around, so it doesn't cost you anything to cook. You don't have to cook them, so there's no resource involved. Just pick them up and munch away as you go. So here we go. Okay. So we'll have a look at where we're up to. So we've got some items now. So we need some electronics. So we'll get a fuel tank and small generator. We'll have a bit of a munch while we wait. So you can see it's quite good on food. Don't forget, guys, when you first start, if you're starting on Aqua, doesn't apply to Omnicron, but if you're starting on Aqua, press the U key, which allows you to take your helmet on and off. Just make sure you take your helmet off. There is an atmosphere here, so when you're initially starting, if you do start on this planet, you don't need your helmet on, because there is oxygen in the atmosphere. Glad once this bit's done. Right, here we go. Come the other thing I did notice on the water as well, flying over on my test game, the water, as you look down, the reflection on the water now looks a lot better. I'm guessing that was part of the shader upgrades that they was working on. Okay, so we got our small tank. So our next thing is we need to get a small generator. So we need 2 computers, reactor core, capacitor device. So first thing we'll do is let's get the computers. Get our capacitor. This is the only problem when you first start. It's quite slow. Once you get going, it's a lot easier, because you've always got something else you can be doing while you're waiting. But when you first start, you've got no base or anything like that. You've just literally got to grim and bear it. The other thing you could do is you could go off and mine, but at the moment I don't have. It's 2 into it, so 1, 2. I don't have an assault rifle yet, so I don't particularly want to just go wandering off just yet. I want to stay as close to my ship as I can. Okay, so you need a mortar. Okay, so we can make a mortar. And then you need 1, 2, 3 pipes, 3 electronics, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 metal components, and you can craft. So again, it's pretty much the same. They haven't changed the start. When you first start off or anything like that too much. The one thing that I would say is a little bit different that I've found, it's more advantageous now when you first start is to get your ship up and running in a basic sense and flying, and put some weapons on and actually hit the POIs a lot harder than you would have done before, because you get a tremendous amount of resources really quickly. Whereas before it was just bits here of something or a bit of something else. You get a lot of good salvage coming back now. Okay, so that's our reactor core. So once that's done, we'll need 3 electronics. So 1, 2, 3. 3 electronics and 12 metal components. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And get our generator going. So that'll then provide power for our base. So we've got a small fuel tank and a small generator, so we can get that put in place. The only other thing is our large constructor. So once that's kicked in, we'll start prepping for our large constructor. And computers need a control. There we go, so we can start working on that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, so that's our computers taken care of. 5 electronics. What else do we need? Pipes. So it'll be 4 pipes, but we'll need pipes for the motors. We'll need cables. So we'll just go ahead and set that one off first. What do we need for motors? There's 2 motors, weren't it? Yeah, 2 motors. So what do we need for motors? Metal components, electronics. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll just do that. 1, 2, 3. Metal components. Once that's finished. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 2 motors. Okay, so that'll give us our computers, our 2 motors. Then after that, it's the individual items. Does motors not take pipes? Oh, okay. So we'll need 4 pipes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on. The other thing that I have found in other videos, and I can't remember if I've mentioned this before, is once I have a base set up, I don't use the constructor on my SV at all. I find it's just not cost effective fuel wise. I don't mind grinding a lot of fuel just so I can fly around the planet and not have to use a hover vehicle, but as far as crafting, I just find it's just not worth it at all. I'd rather just have an extra large constructor running. Okay, so those are 2 mortars. So we've got our 2 computers, we've got the 2 control devices, we now have our 2 mortars, so we need 5 electronics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's already doing that. Metal components. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because it outputs 2. So we only need 5 cables. 4. So 1, 2. So that'll be our cables. Sweet, and our large constructor. So what I'll do is we'll get these items, we'll move them down to the base, and then once I'm at the base I'll get them placed down, and I'll end the video there. It probably will be a lot shorter video, or it might not be. I forgot to set my timer, so it might be about the same. But I'll go ahead and end the video, and then what I'll do off camera is I'll just go out and grab some resources and get ready and try and just concentrate on doing building work. And what I might do, I might just do a bit of a bonus on my next video, is just do some recordings of the base that I've currently built on my personal game. I've just been playing around with the design for a fighter type space vehicle, so I'm just currently finished building that, and I'm going to take that up in space and so I can have the crap shot out of me. Okay, so we've got our small generator, our small fuel tank, and then our large constructor. In fact, I can move all these across. There we go. And I'll shut. Shut my craft down. So hopefully they won't make any huge game changes for a little while now. They tend to, I started playing when it was pre-alpha 1, I can't remember, 1 something, but this is the first time since having the game that I've had to start a new game overall. So hopefully we'll get lucky and not have to do this too often. There is another game that I do play a lot, that literally every patch that comes out we have to do a complete wipe and start again. And it can get quite old and annoying pretty quickly. Hello, Mr. Diney. Just having a nosy around. Okay, so there we go. So we've got our basics of the base. We've got our power generator down. We've got our fuel tank down, and we've put fuel cells in, and we've got our constructor. And then to turn your base on and off, it's the same as it is in your ship. You just press the Y key. I'll go ahead and leave it there. Don't forget, if you've got any comments, please leave them below. I do respond to them. Again, I apologise, we're having to start over, but I have learnt a lot myself from just playing them, just playing on my own private game, that a lot of the different things that I can now shortcut. It's not as long, it's not as hard to get established and up and running. The patch came out, was it yesterday or the day before? But I've already from that managed to get a full base up and running on my private game that I just play around with. So it doesn't take too long to get up and running. Until the next time, guys, take care and hope to see you next time.